Friends, hello, welcome back. Hope everyone's having a lovely day. So we got our first roster update of the season. It was an electrifying one to remember for the ages. I can't remember the last time an MLB The Show roster update came out where we just seen guys' prices skyrocket 100K, 100K, 100K. We seen it across the board. Shohei was 600K. He was going for what, about 450 to 500 for a while now, and he just boom right up to 600K across the board. Everywhere you look, prices were going up. Guys, you could say everybody's seen about a 30% increase of the expensive cards, the guys that weren't, pack fillers. And by pack fillers, we mean anybody on the second page. Those guys' prices, of course, being where they are. And the big thing here, we're going to talk about just some tips to navigate the future live series roster updates. Typically, MLB The Show's been different every year. They used to come out every 2 weeks. Then they said, okay, let's do every 3. I think there's a point they did it every week. And they said every 2 weeks. And then they said every 3. I think it was every week. And then they said every 3 weeks. I think it was on 3 weeks last year. Probably on 3 weeks is a good number. We'll see if they do that this year again. Every 3 weeks you see it. The thing is, with the roster updates, this is so important to acknowledge. Again, things can change every year, but just to put things in perspective, every single year is the same. The first roster update is the shocker. Everybody's like, wow, I would have never guessed prices would go up this much. The roster update comes out, all of a sudden people see the price go up. People's like, oh, I gotta get him, I gotta buy him, I gotta get him, I gotta buy him, I gotta get him, I gotta buy him, because the price is gonna go up. And they shoot up a little bit, and then they start to bounce back down, like we did see with some of these players, some of them holding up. But if there's ever a time where their prices actually go up, it is usually the first roster update. Prime example, Mason Miller. Pretty big shot. Second roster update, they still can go up a little bit, but a lot of people are now aware of it. When everybody knows about it, everybody's on the same side of the boat. So if everybody already bought their Mason Miller on Wednesday or Thursday, everybody bought 5 Mason Millers. Come Friday, everybody's trying to sell them. It's like, I'm gonna make all these stuff. So if everybody's selling, nobody's buying, price goes down, price stays the same. But we see it often, very often, where a price, at 84 overall, be going for 4K, it'll come out and it'll go back down to 3, or back down to quick sell. We can't see that. So I will say temper your expectations. Be very, very mindful of that coming to the next roster update. It is very important. The golden thing that's always I've found to work the best is you jump in on these guys maybe Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday you sell them. You can try Friday, test the waters, but typically Wednesday, Thursday you sell them, because that's the point in time everybody knows, okay, roster updates the next day. I'm going to buy them, I'm going to sell them the next day. And it's like, okay, if everybody's going to do that, you're going to have a hard time selling yours. So you sell the day before when everybody's still buying a little bit. Kind of goes back to what we were saying before. Be mindful of, you got to stay ahead of the game a little bit. It is a marketplace. And just like any, market in the world, if everybody's planning to sell at the same time, nobody's buying it, it's going to go down. So you try to stay ahead of the game there by a day or two. I always find that to work the very best there. I never like holding cards going into the roster update on Friday. It's just, by the time you get, again, like I said, after the first one, either the guy's not going to get an upgrade and his price is going to tank, or the guy does get an upgrade and people are still going to try to sell him, and you probably get minimum. So when you do the guys like this, honestly, I stay away from, Zach Wheeler, the prime example. He's 15K right now. He's up to 20. I would be shocked if Zach Wheeler went to an 89 in a month and his price was more than 25K. Might be. I'd be shocked. So keep that in mind. Meanwhile, we like Hunter Green, big Reds fan. Get biased. Think he should have been a diamond 3 months ago, twice on a Saturday. Dude's been one of, if not the best pitcher in baseball over the last year and a half. Well, past 6 months now. I shouldn't say year and a half. I'm thinking year and a half from like last July to now. But the last year, straight lights out, power pitcher, big believer, 2100. His next upgrade, he could be 86, 87. See that 4K, see that 5K quick sell, and now you're doubling your coins. So it's like guys like that, if you have money to lay around, oh yeah, I love it. Love the idea of trying to flip that 100 green before, again, he gets closer to that 3K range. He gets closer to that 4K range. Once they do get there, like I said, the guys are selling for 3K, you got to be careful. 3,500 is a quick sell. You got to be very, very careful with that. But as long as there's a case spread in there, love it. Anything over 24, 2,500, I'm being a little bit more mindful. Of course, you can maybe like 3, 4, 500 stubs, but he could also not get an upgrade. He could fall on the face of the earth. So be very mindful of that. I always try to look for the underdogs in that regard. As far as silvers go, silvers are kind of I don't really mess with them. I'm gonna be honest, there ain't a lot of space there. if you just see a young and up and comer that's been lighting it up all season, you expect him to come to it. You know, that's kind of where the silvers are. That's where the bronzes are. It's like you have to have a lot of confidence, a lot of faith. And mind you, got to do, if we're watching this is beginning of May. If we're in middle of June and this guy is starting to, or end of June, and he's still a silver, mind you, the chances of him going diamond are very slim. If the guy's going for a K as a silver, you know, there's not a lot of room there as well. It's just things to be mindful of. Usually, my rule of thumb is if everybody's already on the boat and everybody's already chose this guy, most of the time there's not a lot of stubs to be made after that. Sometimes it's an exception, but you know, 8 out of 10 times it's not. You want to make stubs, probably don't want to do something that's a 20% hit rate. Nonetheless, that kind of wraps up what we want to talk about today. Kind of give you guys some, hopefully, tips and information that helps you out in the future with these live series updates. We will start doing, if we find, I think we're going to try to get back to it, doing our live series updates. We like to do it a week in advance, kind of get ahead of the curve as much as we can. Again, there's always the risk where guys can then go 0 for 8 the next 2 days, kind of hit their chances. But it's a risk worth taking, I think, because, hey, 2 days later, if he falls off, you won't lose as many stubs as, you know, say you overpaid 500-600 stubs for a guy 3 days later. So do with that what you will. As always, though, thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.